What's going on, Charles Botenston? Today we're going to be talking about something that is, I said in the last video, and the only way that you can know it's my last video is because I'm wearing the exact same clothes. But in the last video I said, go around the world and observe it. Don't go around the world like you normally do. I mean, observe it as in be an observer of interactions, of people, of body language, of emotions, of conversation, of laughter, of who you are, how you react, when you do things, when you don't do things, when you break a habit, when you continue a habit, when you eat bad, when you go to the gym, when you study, whatever. Be an observer of everything. And this is the reason why. This is the reason why, is that I recently had a conversation at the gym with this guy, and he said, I was talking about my rugby back in the day, and essentially, he goes, "You break like a twig." I'm like, actually, I played Division II rugby, and I was also the social chair, and pretty much was going to be the captain, the vice captain, I should say. And he's like, no way. He's like, and there's this other guy at the gym named someone at the gym that played rugby. I'm not going to mention his name, but someone at the gym that also played rugby. And he's like, that person would break you like in half. He's like, your leg is the size, or his leg is the size of two of your legs. I'm like, listen, it's all about technique, and that's how it is. It's like in football, you got to aim for the head, and that's why so many people come out brain damaged. In rugby, it's all about technique and tackling someone. I could take down the biggest person coming at full speed at me because of the way that I don't go at him. I let him come at me, and I use his force to bring him down. It's how it's done because I'm not the largest person. But he then responded, and he said, this is very interesting, and this is what I'm talking about, being in the observer, as the observer, and not subjectively. Subjectively means that you have an opinion, you have an ego, you have an emotion, you're part of the conversation. Be an observer of the conversation. Observe how they're responding, how they're reacting, micro-calibrate. Are they understanding what you're saying? Are you not? Are you being, there's times that I'll say something and it's way above their head. They're just not interested. I was out with this girl yesterday, a good friend of mine, and she's a stunning girl, but to be honest, there's not much in the head, and I'm a little bit more picky now that looks can take you so far. And I noticed that what I was saying, it was not relating at all. And obviously this is good when you're in sales, when you're talking to a potential mate, when you're talking to a stranger or whatever, is just micro-calibrate within the conversation. I noticed it was everything I was saying, she wasn't interested. Or it just either wasn't interesting or it's just beyond her. It was like too high of a conversation. So I just stopped and I just asked her a question to her. But this is interesting. So that's what I mean by being an observer within the conversation. So this is what the guy, going back to the rugby story, at the gym, the guy said, he goes, "Charles, you're a lover, not a fighter. Charles, you're a lover, not a fighter." So why? This is very interesting. Okay, most people would just take it in stride and blah blah blah. But I thought about it for a while, and I said, why did he say I'm a lover, not a fighter? Because I'm giving off that persona. And I am. Listen, I fought, like, literally fist fights back in the day many times. I did some really dumb things. I noticed that it's just not worth it. Walking around with a black eye at age 30 is not, I'm 31, is not, it's, and plus, you don't even know. Self-defense, I know self-defense. But he said it, and the reason being, so there's many aspects. Number one is that obviously that was the persona I've been putting off to him. That's the identity that he boxed me into. All right, so when I say don't be boxed into what people want you to be, that could be anything: an athlete, a bimbo, intelligence, social. You'll have everyone. Oh, they're always on time. Any kind of label that you put on someone, good or bad. And I'm not talking about labels in the traditional sense, but I mean labels in the sense of they're a hard worker. They do what they say. They're consistent. He always goes to the gym. He's a gym rat. Those are labels. So it's interesting because number one is I never like to be boxed in ever. Is that when I'm boxed in, that means I'm not growing. I want them to be like, yeah, he's a social guy, but there's a time that he knows how to listen. You know, in other words, what I'm saying is that when people box you in, you have one of two reactions. One is you agree, or two, you disagree. Or the third one is you observe, which it's challenging. That will take you a while. But say someone called you an idiot, and you are really confident in your ability to be smart. You know, they're like, you're an idiot. And you're like, no, not really. Like this guy called, he's like, you're a lover, not a fighter. I'm like, well, Scott, I can tell you right now, I would be able to take down anyone at this gym if they were running full speed at me. And obviously he disagreed because he has an identity of who I am. And what I'm saying is different than what he knows me as. So he knows me as this lover, and then I start saying something different. This could be in a relationship. This could be in your life. When you start, and I've already brought this up, when you start eating right, when you start exercising, when you start doing things contrary to your identity, when you start making more money, you know, they call it homeostasis, I think they call it homeostasis, but you know, there's a temperature at which you do things, how hard you work out, whether you're on time. There's a temperature of how much money you make, and if you go above that and you start making a lot more and you're not ready, you'll spend it to come right back down. If you're working really, 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 really hard, you'll take some time off to come back to who you are. However, if you're like, I'm a hard worker, and you start going below and you're not working hard, you'll raise up. And that's the exact same thing with an identity. Is people want to box, and it's smart. We need to box things into. We need life to be boxed into things, because otherwise, if we rediscover every single person, humans would be dead, because we're rediscovering who people are, what they are. Are they always on time? Are they smart? Are they intelligent? Can I trust them? What's this person about? And if we keep on rediscovering, we would have been dead. But the problem is with labels is that if you start believing the label, perfect example is a lot of singers say this, is that they are put into a box, or an actor is labeled as the action guy, the guy that does horror films, the guy that always plays the same role, and he's boxed into that. They start believing that box. They start believing the box that they're in. So, a perfect example is Will Smith. He can do any role, and he's done every role. He's done I Am Legend, which is by himself. He's done a comedy, which is Hitch. He's done, you know, gangster movies where he's a badass. It's like he doesn't believe anything about being boxed in. And then there's people, childhood stars. They're boxing me in. Hollywood's boxing me in. It's tough to play a different role. It's like, well, what about that guy that was on The Office, and then he just went out and he did 13 hours? I think that's the name of the movie. The Benghazi movie. It's like he didn't get boxed into a comedy show, and he did an action movie. Okay? So when someone calls you something or someone says something, question the label first. See if you actually want to be in that box. And then also find out, why am I being questioned? Why am I being labeled? Why do they think this about me? You know, it will happen so many times in your life. And this is the thing, is that say you go your whole life, or say you know friends on a certain level. This is what we do every time. These are my drinking buddies. These are my workout buddies. This is my hockey team. And then say your hockey team buddies become your drinking buddies. Okay, that's two different labels. What if your hockey buddies become your drinking buddies and your gym buddies? Now you have three labels for those people. This is the interesting thing, is that if someone sees you as someone, like this guy at the gym was like, you're a lover, not a hater, or a fighter, you're a lover, not a fighter. He boxed me into this area, and then I started going contrary to it, and he started trying to put me back into it. He goes, no, that's not you. That's not you. No. This is him. He goes, I'm right. You're wrong. You're a lover, not a fighter. And I'm like, wow, this is what it's like. If I didn't believe who I am, if I didn't have a personal awareness to the conversation, I'd been like, yeah, you're right. Scott. His name's Scott. You're right, Scott. I am a lover, not a fighter. But I observed it, and I said I can take down anyone, and it was funny because I sort of did it on purpose. I said I could take down anyone full speed at this gym. It's a pretty big-sized gym, coming at me. And people will do this in your life. You start eating right. You start exercising. You start making more money. You start becoming more popular. You start driving a nicer car, getting a nicer house, going to a nice school. You start making the team. You start starting on the team. You start being the best on the team. You start being the best in the league. You start being the best in the company. You start doing a lot of sales. Not only will you start questioning yourself, other people will start questioning you. And the reason they're questioning you is because they're really questioning themselves. They're questioning their own identity. Identities are massive. The labels that people try and put on you, you either believe or you don't believe. If Mark Zuckerberg may say they're used to putting, I don't know, 1 million people, signing up 1 million people a day, or I don't know, whatever there's, how much Facebook signs every single day. But say they're used to 500,000. And then for 2 weeks, they only signed up per day 10,000. You say, whoa, what's going on? This is crazy. It's the exact same way in relationships with friends. You start seeing someone going to the gym, you start seeing them having results, or you start seeing them rising up on the hierarchy of life. They start reading more. People will start questioning, trying to bring you down. It's the same thing with crabs. When you put crabs in a bucket and one crab starts trying to climb out, the other crabs will literally pull him back down. Labels and the identity that people try and put on you is everything. So have an awesome day. Subscribe to the video. Don't believe the hype of identities and labels, because number one, you don't want to be boxed in as the athlete. If, by the way, you then turn into the photographer. I have a buddy. He was known as the athlete. He was the jock. It took him 5 years to get away from that label. It took him 5 years to get away from the label of being the jock and being a photographer. Don't be boxed in. Don't have a label. And your identity is just, it's fluid. You're an amoeba. You're all different things. All right? Have an awesome day. Leave any comments below. Talk to you soon.